If you ever set foot on Venus, brace yourself, because this planet won't just kill you, it will obliterate you in the most brutal way possible. The moment you land, the immense atmospheric pressure would crush you like a flimsy plastic bottle under a hydraulic press. Painful? Absolutely. But don't worry, it would only last 5 seconds. 5 agonizing, drawn-out seconds where every fiber of your being is compressed beyond recognition. And just wait until we get to Mars. What happens there is even more disturbing. Venus isn't just hot, it's a suffocating, crushing inferno. The planet's atmosphere is so dense, so unforgiving, that it exerts a pressure 92 times greater than what you experience on Earth. To put that into perspective, it's like being 900 meters deep in the ocean, but without the water, just air so heavy it collapses everything in its grip. It wouldn't take long, just a millisecond, and your spacesuit would begin to crumple. 1 second in, the suit's structural integrity fails, trapping you in a rapidly imploding shell. Another second passes, and your body starts folding in on itself. Skin and muscles compress, blood vessels burst like overfilled water balloons, and your organs begin shutting down in a desperate, losing battle. By the 5th and final second, you're unconscious, and before you even have time to register the agony, it's over. Venus, from a distance, may look like a golden-hued paradise, but up close, it's nothing short of a death sentence. And being crushed alive? That's just the first way this planet would kill you. Let's talk about the heat, because if, by some miracle, you manage to survive the crushing pressure, Venus would cook you alive in an instant. You see, this planet doesn't just trap heat, it hoards it like a sadistic oven set to maximum. Thanks to a runaway greenhouse effect, surface temperatures soar to a blistering 465 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead, hotter than the lava spewing from Earth's most violent volcanoes. Within seconds, you'd feel the burn. Within a minute, your internal body temperature would start rising uncontrollably. Cue heat exhaustion. Your body would fight back, sweating profusely, heart pounding, but it wouldn't stand a chance. The searing heat would overwhelm your system, pushing your body temperature past 40 degrees Celsius. Nausea sets in. Fatigue follows. Every breath feels like inhaling fire. Then, as the minutes drag on, your organs start to shut down. Darkness creeps in. At the 10-minute mark, you slip into unconsciousness, but even then, the torture isn't over. You have just a few more minutes before total brain failure and cardiac arrest. On Venus, heat stroke isn't just a risk, it's inevitable. And in case you were still holding on to some absurd hope of survival, don't. Because breathing here? Not an option. The air on Venus is a death trap composed of 96% carbon dioxide with a toxic blend of nitrogen. One accidental breath, and your lungs would seize up instantly, suffocating you before you could even panic. But wait, there's more. The planet's sulfuric acid rain isn't just a dramatic touch, it's a ruthless killer. Even if your suit somehow withstood the crushing pressure and searing heat, it would not survive the rain. This acidic downpour would corrode your suit, eat through the fabric, and burn your skin upon contact. Venus isn't just inhospitable, it's an execution chamber disguised as a planet. Final verdict? A solid 1 out of 10 on the survival scale, and that's being generous. Absolutely, unequivocally, would not recommend. Now, welcome to Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun. Because, clearly I haven't suffered enough incineration already. But here's the thing, Mercury has a little secret. You might expect this place to be nothing but a scorching inferno, but plot twist, on the night side, it's not just cold, it's unimaginably freezing. We're talking about a bone-shattering minus 180 degrees Celsius. Yeah, of course, I knew that. Everybody knows that. And while we're sharing secrets, let me just slip this in. What if Explorers Club on Patreon is on fire right now, unlike me, because I'm currently freezing to death? Join now and watch me die over and over again in exclusive early episodes. Anyway, back to Mercury's night side. Unlike its fiery neighbor Venus, Mercury has no atmosphere, which means there's nothing to trap heat, nothing to hold on to warmth, nothing to stop the sun's energy from disappearing into the abyss of space. So, the moment night falls, the temperature plummets. And here's the kicker. It happens fast. At first, you'd be fine. You could step out, stretch your legs, take in the breathtaking, airless, desolate landscape. Pretty cool, right? But then, the cold starts creeping in. First, it's subtle. A little numbness in your fingers. No big deal. Rico, is it normal that I can't feel my hands? Numbness in the extremities indicates the early stages of hypothermia. Pfft, whatever. It's only minus 180 degrees, right? Of course, it's a little chilly. What a shocker. But then things start to go downhill fast. The tingling in your fingers turns into a deep, biting cold. Your body starts shivering uncontrollably. Nope. I'm fine. Totally fine. Okay, maybe not. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely shivering. Warning, core body temperature dropping, 35 degrees Celsius. 10 minutes in, your muscles stiffen. Your movements slow. You feel dazed, disoriented. Your thoughts scatter. You try to walk, but your legs refuse to cooperate. Then the real danger sets in. Your core body temperature hits 32 degrees Celsius. Warning, return to spaceship immediately. But could you even make it back? Unlikely. Now you're barely functioning. You're sluggish, weak, your body is shutting down, but you're still alive. Mercury, however, is patient. It doesn't rush your death. It lets the cold creep in, slowly, painfully, mercilessly. Your core temperature plummets to 28 degrees Celsius. Your brain is shutting down. You're no longer cold, you're just tired. So very, very tired. It would take about an hour before Mercury's night side finally claims you. A slow, excruciatingly cold demise. But hey, at least you'd get a front row seat to Mercury's stunning, desolate scenery before you collapsed into a frozen corpse. Final rating? 3 out of 10. But don't get too comfortable, because Mercury isn't done with you yet. Flip over to the day side, and it's a whole new nightmare. The temperature here skyrockets to 427 degrees Celsius, just a hair below Venus's molten fury. But it's not just the heat that's going to destroy you. Oh no. Mercury comes with a bonus round of extreme radiation. The moment you step out of your spaceship, you don't just feel the heat. You feel it in your bones. Every part of your body screams in agony as the sun's unfiltered radiation tears into your skin. Your suit offers some protection, but not for long. If it fails, your skin would blister instantly. You'd feel the burns before you even have time to process what's happening. My hands are burning. Yeah, that's because they literally are. Radiation is vaporizing your DNA at a microscopic level. And here's the worst part. It doesn't take hours. It doesn't even take minutes. The process starts in a fraction of a second. Within the next hour, your cells begin to mutate and die. There's no reversing it. No way out. And then comes the heat. If your suit's cooling system malfunctions, and let's be honest, at this point, it absolutely will, you'd experience a level of overheating you've never imagined. Warning, core body temperature rising, 39 degrees Celsius. 5 minutes in, your head feels like it's about to explode. The heat burns through your muscles, making you nauseous, disoriented. After 10 minutes, your body temperature soars past 42 degrees Celsius, a lethal fever. You're delirious, barely conscious. Rico, are you seeing that? There are 103 suns everywhere. Warning, heat stroke imminent. Your body is shutting down. At this point, you're not just dying, you're being cooked alive. Your muscles weaken. Your organs start failing. Your brain is fried. You slip into unconsciousness, trapped between heat stroke and radiation poisoning. Mercury is relentless. It doesn't give you a quick, painless death. It lets you suffer. Slowly, mercilessly. Final rating? 2 out of 10. Because at least on the night side, you could admire the view before freezing to death. Mercury doesn't play fair. It never did. And it never will. Alright, let's talk about Mars. The red planet. It sounds like the ideal place for humanity's next great adventure, doesn't it? If we're going to establish a colony anywhere in the solar system, surely Mars is the obvious choice. Well, not so fast. Mars may look inviting in the travel brochures, but reality hits hard. This planet sits just outside the Sun's habitable zone, and trust me, that little detail makes all the difference. No liquid water, no magnetosphere to protect you from deadly radiation, and an atmosphere so thin that it's practically useless. Mars might trick you into thinking it's a second home, but the moment you arrive, it's already plotting your gruesome demise. Let's start with the biggest problem: breathing. You simply can't. The air here is almost entirely carbon dioxide, which, as you might recall, is not exactly compatible with human lungs. Keeping your spacesuit on at all times is non-negotiable. And if, for any reason, that suit fails, even for a second, you're done. Suit breach detected.
Oh.
The slightest malfunction, the tiniest rip, and Mars takes you out instantly. At first, you might not even realize what's happening. The first few seconds of inhaling Martian air would be disorienting, confusing even. But make no mistake, you're dying. Your lungs desperately try to suck in oxygen, but there's none to be found. You start gasping, breathing faster, but that only makes things worse. Meanwhile, your spacesuit is rapidly decompressing, and that's when the real nightmare begins. Mars doesn't just suffocate you, it tears you apart at a molecular level. The atmospheric pressure here is 0.6% of what you experience on Earth. As soon as your suit loses pressure, all the air inside, the very air keeping you alive, escapes in an instant. Warning: danger of embolism. You don't know what that means? Let me explain. Your blood is about to start boiling. Here's the horrifying science behind it. Your bodily fluids contain dissolved gases, and when exposed to a low-pressure environment, those gases expand uncontrollably. Your skin balloons outward, your veins bulge, your entire body begins to distort. Your saliva?
Boiling.
The moisture in your eyes?
Boiling.
And just when you think it couldn't get any worse, your capillaries start bursting, your tissue begins tearing apart. This horrifying ordeal lasts for about 7 agonizing minutes, until finally you're gone. Somebody put a graphic content warning on the screen because Mars just gave you hope and then brutally ripped it away. But let's say, somehow, you avoid that particular nightmare. Mars has other ways to kill you. Dust storms. And I'm not talking about a little breeze blowing sand around. No, Mars doesn't do anything halfway. These planet-wide monstrosities can last for weeks, even months, turning the entire surface into an unforgiving wasteland of swirling death. And the worst part? It's not even the wind that's the real problem. It's the dust. These microscopic, razor-sharp particles are so fine, so invasive, that they find their way into everything. Your spacesuit, your oxygen filters, your equipment. Nothing is safe. They scratch your visor, making it harder to see. They clog your life support systems, suffocating you slowly, deliberately. You think this is bad? Imagine being trapped inside your suit, choking on your own filtered air, as Mars quietly, methodically, shuts down every piece of tech keeping you alive. Warning: oxygen system failure. And just like that, it's over. Mars wants you to think you can live here. It lets you believe it for a moment, but it's a lie. The second you let your guard down, this planet erases you from existence. Final verdict?
6 out of 10.
Mars earns points for at least pretending you have a shot at survival. But let's be real, you don't. Jupiter, the king of planets, the largest world in the solar system, and quite possibly the most merciless executioner you'll ever encounter. If you thought Mars was unforgiving, Jupiter doesn't just kill you, it annihilates you in more ways than you can count. Twice as massive as all the other planets combined, this gas giant operates on a level of brutality that defies comprehension. First, let's start with the obvious problem. You can't land here. Jupiter has no solid surface. It's nothing but a swirling mass of hydrogen and helium, an endless abyss where falling means falling forever. You wouldn't even get the satisfaction of a crash landing. No final thud, just an infinite plunge into oblivion. But don't worry, you wouldn't make it far. Because before long, Jupiter's crushing pressure would turn you into a very messy, very compact version of yourself. Let me guess, suffocation? Extreme pressure? What else is new? Oh, right, lightning. Jupiter isn't just home to bad weather. It's the host of some of the most violent electrical storms in the entire solar system. And trust me, you do not want to be in the middle of one. At first, things seem relatively manageable. In the upper atmosphere, conditions are surprisingly calm. The pressure here is only 1/10 of what we feel on Earth. Your capsule is stable.
For now.
But the deeper you go, the more chaotic things become. At about 50 kilometers below the cloud tops, the winds start screaming at over 360 kilometers per hour. Your ship is being thrown around like a toy in a hurricane. Static buildup detected in the atmosphere. And that's when you realize what's coming. The lightning. This isn't your everyday Earth thunderstorm.
No, no, no.
Jupiter's lightning is on a whole other level. Each strike is terrifyingly massive, releasing enough energy to power entire cities. The atmosphere around you crackles with electrical charge. And then, boom. A bolt of lightning slams directly into your capsule. The shockwave alone is devastating. But the real problem? Every single system inside your ship just went dark. The electrical grid is fried. The oxygen supply is failing. The temperature inside your capsule is plummeting. Now, you're falling deeper and deeper into the storm, completely powerless, trapped in a dead ship, with nothing but the howling winds and endless lightning surrounding you. You're running out of air, running out of time, and there is absolutely no way out. Final verdict? 5 out of 10. Would I recommend? Absolutely not. But if you're looking for a truly cinematic way to go, Jupiter might just be the planet for you. This gas giant may not be as colossal as Jupiter, but don't let that fool you. Saturn is, without a doubt, the most breathtakingly majestic planet in the solar system. As the second largest world in our cosmic neighborhood, Saturn shares a lot in common with its bigger, meaner sibling. It's a gas giant, made almost entirely of hydrogen and helium, with no solid surface to stand on. But don't be deceived by its beauty, because beneath those golden clouds, Saturn is just as deadly, violent, and unforgiving as any other world that wants to kill you on sight. Let's talk about the atmosphere, or more specifically, the nightmare that awaits you inside it. Deep below the cloud tops, the crushing pressure of this planet is so immense that it literally transforms hydrogen into liquid metal. And if that doesn't terrify you, how about hurricane-force winds howling at a staggering 1,800 kilometers per hour? That's nearly twice the speed of a Category 5 hurricane on Earth. If you ever found yourself plummeting through Saturn's clouds, you wouldn't just be torn apart by the storms. You'd be flattened into nothingness by the sheer weight of the atmosphere. But here's the craziest part. You might not even make it that far. Because Saturn doesn't need its atmosphere to eliminate you. No. Saturn has something far more spectacular up its sleeve, its rings. Ah yes, the iconic rings of Saturn. Absolutely stunning, right? From a distance, sure. But up close? They are an orbiting death trap. Made up of billions of chunks of ice and rock, some as small as grains of dust, others the size of entire houses. These rings have been circling Saturn for hundreds of millions of years. And they'll keep doing so for hundreds of millions more until eventually they rain down onto the planet itself in one final, breathtaking cosmic spectacle. But here's the problem. They don't just sit there. These icy projectiles are moving at an absolutely insane speed, 70,000 kilometers per hour. If you're even slightly off course while approaching Saturn, your ship won't just collide with the rings. It will be shredded to pieces before you even realize what's happening. 1 second, you're marveling at the view. The next, your spacecraft is nothing more than a cloud of debris, lost forever in Saturn's orbit. Final verdict? 8 out of 10. Absolutely gorgeous, but a beautiful execution chamber nonetheless. Uranus, a beautiful, storm-ridden, deadly ice giant with a horrifying secret. It doesn't just want to kill you. It wants to do it in as many creative ways as possible. And to top it all off, it stinks. Yep, thanks to its methane-filled atmosphere, Uranus is essentially a giant cosmic fart. But don't laugh too hard, because if you ever found yourself here, that methane-infused air would be the last thing you'd ever inhale. Now, you might think, only 2% of the Uranian atmosphere is methane. How bad could it be? The answer? Instant death. That's how bad. Just a few breaths, and your lungs shut down completely. No oxygen. No survival. And that's if you're lucky. Because let's say you manage to keep your space suit perfectly intact. Well, Uranus still has plenty of other ways to kill you. First, let's talk about the winds. This planet is no gentle ice giant. It's a frigid death trap where 900 kilometers per hour winds whip across the surface, slamming into anything unlucky enough to be in their path. And those winds? They carry tiny, high-speed ice shards that could erode your suit like sandpaper on soft fabric. If that doesn't break your protection, then the planet's brutal cold will. We're talking minus 224 degrees Celsius, the coldest temperatures in the entire solar system. Your suit would become brittle and one wrong move, snap. A tiny crack is all it takes for the methane-rich air to flood in and suffocate you. But maybe, just maybe, you somehow survive all of that. Maybe you manage to fall deeper into Uranus' abyss before the cold and the gas claim you. In that case, congratulations, you're about to experience one of the most absurdly poetic deaths imaginable. Because the deeper you go, the more intense the pressure becomes. At around 10,000 kilometers below the cloud tops, that pressure reaches mind-boggling levels, squeezing carbon atoms into a solid crystalline structure. In other words, you become a diamond. That's right, 18% of your body is carbon, and under Uranus' immense force, those carbon atoms would literally crystallize. You wouldn't just die, you'd be transformed into a sparkling, priceless gemstone. The most valuable corpse in the entire solar system. Final verdict? 10 out of 10. Epic, dramatic, and let's be honest, kind of fabulous. If you have to go, why not go out as a literal diamond? And now, we've arrived at the final ice giant of the solar system, the most distant planet from the Sun, Neptune. At first glance, Neptune might look a lot like Uranus. Same size, same mass, same basic ingredients: hydrogen, helium, frozen ammonia, methane, and water. But don't be fooled. Neptune has one thing Uranus does not: extreme
Winds.
And by extreme, I don't mean the kind of wind that gently ruffles your hair. No, Neptune's winds are the fastest in the entire solar system. These monstrous gusts roar at 2,100 kilometers per hour, moving so fast they could shred anything in their path. We're not just talking about storms, we're talking about supersonic devastation. And as if that wasn't bad enough, these winds aren't just fast, they're chaotic. They don't just blow in one direction, they twist and turn violently, creating massive, swirling vortices that could grab your spaceship and toss it around like a rag doll. Intense atmospheric pressure detected. You wouldn't be able to predict which way you were moving. One moment, your ship is spinning one way. The next, it's flipped upside down and hurled in another direction entirely. And if you thought the pressure inside Neptune storms was bad, just wait, because things are about to get a lot worse. If you were unlucky enough to get caught inside one of Neptune's supersonic vortices, you wouldn't just be spinning wildly. You'd be crushed. The centrifugal force alone would slam your body against the walls of your ship, pressing down with brutal force. At 10 Gs of acceleration, every organ in your body would feel like it weighed 10 times more than normal. Your blood would pool in your legs, your vision would darken, your brain would starve for oxygen. You'd lose consciousness in seconds. And then, Neptune would finish the job. Because it wouldn't take long, maybe 5 minutes at most, before both your ship and your body completely lose their structural integrity. Your ship? Ripped apart. You? Torn to pieces. Whatever remains of you would disintegrate into the deep, frozen abyss of Neptune's atmosphere, never to be seen again. That was brutal. Final verdict? 2 out of 10. Because, let's be honest, Neptune doesn't just kill you. It erases you. I know you guys love Pluto, so since you asked so nicely, I figured I'd give you a little treat, a front row seat to one of the coldest, most merciless deaths imaginable. Now, let's get one thing straight. Pluto isn't even a planet. It's a dwarf planet sitting way out on the fringes of the solar system, so far away that it barely even feels the sun's warmth. It's smaller than Earth's moon, but don't be fooled. This tiny frozen rock still has plenty of ways to end you. And the main one? Cold. Brutal, unforgiving, absolute cold. The moment you set foot here, your body starts losing heat at an alarming rate. Temperature reading, minus 239 degrees Celsius. That's colder than liquid nitrogen. That's so cold, it might as well be cryogenic death on demand. At first, you'd feel a deep chill creeping into your bones. Then, within 30 seconds, frostbite sets in. Your fingers, your toes, they start dying. The blood in your extremities freezes first, leaving them stiff and useless. Another 30 seconds pass, and things get a lot worse. Your bodily fluids start turning to ice. The water in your cells crystallizes, expanding and shredding them from the inside. Your muscles stiffen, your vision starts to blur, and the deep ache in your chest tells you your organs are struggling to function. 2 minutes in, your core body temperature plummets below 30 degrees Celsius. And that's the kill switch. Your brain, no longer able to regulate your body, shuts down. You lose consciousness, slipping into a frozen coma with no way back. 3 minutes in, you're done. Your organs fail completely, and your body becomes just another lifeless, frozen monument in Pluto's icy wasteland. You don't even get a chance to feel pain anymore. You're just gone. Final rating? 7 out of 10. At least it's quick. Almost painless. But yet it still hurts. And with that, we've officially wrapped up our little tour of planetary death traps. So, where should we send Chase next? An exoplanet? A black hole? A neutron star, maybe? But hey, that's a story for another time. Support us on Patreon to help send Chase to his next adventure. Because, he's definitely not making it back from this one.